The following podcast contains coarse language and adult themes. This week on the show, we're stealing subs, taking orders from Churchill, and just plain fucking murdering Nazis left and right with a bow and arrow. And the timing couldn't be better. It's the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I'm Riggs.
I'm Eddie.
And this is the Film Addicts podcast. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Film Addicts podcast. We're so happy to have you here. We're going to be a little ungentlemanly this fine day. Titty balls. I don't know. What's ungentlemanly? I guess I should be wearing a hat or something. Are you wearing a hat over there?
I am not.
No, we don't have any gentlemanliness going on right now. No tuxedos or suits and ties or anything. We're just straight up killing a bunch of Germans. Hope you're well, everyone.
No, we're not killing a bunch of Germans. We killed a bunch of Nazis.
Nazis, yeah, that's right. You're right. Absolutely, it's not. They're not Nazis. They're not Germans. They're Nazis. To pull from another podcast. Anyway, we're back. It's wonderful to be here. We're talking about this movie because we're actually going to do something else at first. We were going to do Seven because it's just been re-released in 4K and it's doing the rounds at some of the cinemas. And I was going to go and see it, and that did not happen. And Addie was like, fuck you, because we planned it and everything. And I was like, oh no, what can I do to appease him, to appease the god of Addie? I said, what about Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare? And you'd be say, fuck yeah. So here we are, we're doing it. Guy Ritchie.
Hell yeah.
What have you been doing? What's going on?
I have just been watching a ton of movies and TV.
Awesome. Well, we'll get into that with what are we watching. It feels weird, sort of like trying to do a catch up when I spoke to you. Like when you get a weekly schedule, there's not as much to catch up on. I've got like one thing that I watched, but anyway, we'll get into that first. What?
How are you doing?
I'm technically fucking all right. This is a little bit of a manic couple of days trying to get Johnny's film clip finished. Johnny, our fantastic composer for the show. And one of my longtime collaborators and dear friends had a music video come out that I directed and edited. Came out yesterday, and it was just sort of getting that done after coming home from the trip and everything. He was really happy with it though, so that was pretty good. But I was also getting ready for a shoot that I have this weekend, and it was just a lot of stuff all at once. And then a meetings ran long this morning. I was like, I just want a podcast. Fuck.
Can I just say though? Sorry to cut you off, but the video is fucking amazing. It's so amazing.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, it came up really well. It was sort of this weird kind of idea of, you know, kindred spirits, and I listened to the song and it's kind of threatening in places and kind of, you know, keeps changing on you and all this stuff. So I thought it would be about transformation, and so it's about these, you know, if you watch the clip, everyone, these people come into a bar where Johnny's sort of playing by himself, and he possesses them, like he literally changes them, he transforms them into you know, this manic crowd. It's only like, you know, fucking half a dozen people or whatever, but that's kind of the joke. Yeah, it's really great, and it cut together really well. And Johnny is probably the most talented guitarist I've ever seen, and that includes professionals. Like the dude is. Actually, my business partner Dan put it best once. When Jimi Hendrix plays guitar, he's not playing guitar. He's saying, "This is what my soul looks like, and I'm going to show you with this guitar." That's what JP's like. Like that's you see the man when you hear the music. So, yeah, I'm glad to have done him justice. Regardless of all that, it's on the Hit 66 YouTube page if you want to go and check it out, or just check out Johnny on YouTube as well. He's got plenty of stuff. And we did another clip together a few years ago as well. Love all that. What are we doing again? That's right. What are we
watching?
That's the appropriate response, yes. What are we watching? I think I went first last time, so you fucking do it.
I have been watching, I've been watching Severance, and it's been fucking amazing. It's one of the best TV shows on there right now. And the crafting of the mystery and the writing of the show is top tier television. Like you would not expect the shit that they pull to be pulled in a TV show.
I mean, as a concept, it's really interesting just to like straight out of the gate.
I watched the first 3 episodes of Invincible season 3. I wasn't going to because I did not enjoy season 2 at all. Like it had some good stuff, but like there was the mid-season break and just I just did not I did not get the story that well. Like the story that they were trying to tell. I understood the point that they were trying to make, but it could have been so much better. And the first 3 episodes of season 3 have been better than the entirety of season 2 for me. So that's fun.
Oh wow, okay. Well, that's good. Maybe they took some notes.
Yep, it's fun. I'm excited to see where we go next, and if we see. I hope we don't see Invincible in live action. It will, like, when you get something like Doc Seismic, who like rules over the centipedes and magma people from the earth. You can't do that in live action. There is no way it looks as glorious as it does in an animated TV show. So I hope we get more seasons of it. But yeah, J.K. Simmons is fucking baller as always. If you do continue it, the Omni-Man stuff in season 2 is fucked up in the best way possible. And I watched Ungentlemanly Warfare like late last night, which was fun.
Watched it again, getting ready. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a much better film than I gave it credit for at first. Awesome. Well, I watched 2 things. One was called The Beach Bum, Harmony Korine's picture with Matthew McConaughey playing this kind of married into money waif who just kind of gets around and his name's Moondog and he's kind of a poet and he's published books, but he's a drunk and a drug addict and doesn't really take it all that seriously and he's no real spoilers here because it's the crux of the film. His wife passes away and she says in her will it says you can't have any of the money that you married into and that I would leave you unless you publish your new book. So it's sort of about his journey of publishing that. I really liked it up until the end. I thought, well, that's nihilistic as fuck, and I'm not down for nihilism. Things have more meaning than that, but it's definitely a great performance from Matthew McConaughey and Jonah Hill plays his agent, who is just hysterical. I don't know what he's doing, but it's fucking really funny. Like he's doing kind of a weird Southern accent, and it's just. It's exceptional, and Zac Efron's in it as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Harmony Korine makes interesting pictures. I didn't really like Spring Breakers, but at least it was I was trying something. And the other thing I watched is a documentary called The Image Revolution, and it was a kind of a fairly low rent actually documentary made about the forming of Image Comics back in the day when the sort of core guys who were working at Marvel, Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Eric Larson, a couple of other guys there, decided to like quit Marvel and quit DC and go and make their own thing, which became Image Comics and sort of what happened and how that worked and that they were all kind of like separate entities under Image Comics and they ended up splintering off and doing their own things. I mean, Jim Lee sold part of his company to DC and they took over, Wildstorm, and, started doing their books over there and all that stuff. But it's just interesting to see. And then Robert Kirkman's in it at the end talking about Walking Dead because that's under the Image banner and he's like, this is the only place for independents to maintain the rights to their properties and do interesting work. And it's true, Image is... even though at that time it was kind of maligned and thought of as this kind of shit factory where just stuff came out, the art was bad, the stories were bad, the plots were bad. It was just like they just got stuff out, to get more and more. And, they were during that huge bubble of collecting that kind of burst where now comics aren't worth shit really, like because of that, everyone bought all these issues, copies of number ones of issues, but there was so many millions of copies printed, they're now valueless and all that kind of thing, and the struggle between Liefeld in particular and the rest of the group. Like Liefeld's obviously got a massive ego, and he's he does a really good impersonation of Todd McFarlane though, which is pretty fun. But yeah, just how that studio is still a place where people can go and do really interesting work and maintain their rights and get paid what they're worth. And when the big two still maintain all the rights to all of their characters, even if you create them while you're working for them, and how that's a little bit, there's a disparity there between what's fair and what's costly. And yeah, anyway, it was a really interesting documentary, and I would recommend it.
I shall find it and watch it.
It's on Tubi.
We don't have that.
Tubi? You don't have that over there?
I don't think so.
It's so funny because I'm just looking at, streaming services because they cost quite a bit, these days. The one here, Binge, which is basically Australia's version of HBO Max, is like $20 a month, which doesn't sound like much, but they're not doing anything new. They don't produce their own stuff. Like, they don't generate their own content like Apple or whatever, or Prime. They don't stream in real 4K. Like, they're 4K streams, but it doesn't engage the 4K on your TV the way that the other streaming services do. And their interface is for shit. Like, it's like the most unnavigatable thing, which is a really poor thing to say, and like a stupid thing to say about something so simple. There's bigger things in the world to worry about than that. But if you're running a service, it needs to have a good interface. And yeah, it's not really worth it. So anyway, long way around to say I tried Tubi because it's free, and it's weird, man. They've got like some interesting stuff like documentaries and lots of TV series and like Saturday morning cartoons, which is wild, and old stuff. But then they've got like a prestige movie, like something proper, like Primal Fear, with Richard Gere and Edward Norton. It's proper political, proper courtroom drama. And then they've got 4 movies about giant alligators fighting stuff. Like, it's like the beautiful, like, oh, I can get into this on a Friday night, a cup of tea, piece of cake kind of movie. And then absolute shit that you need a fucking weed brownie for. Like, that's all I'm saying. There's a lot going on Tubi. You should check it out. What you should also check out is the motherfucking news, which is what we're going to do. Do you want to do that?
Yes, let's do no news.
It's no news. I don't have heaps because we did this recently and there hasn't been much news. You sent me something today though. What was it?
Oh, it was about The Accountant 2.
How the fuck are they getting away with this? Honestly, I mean, that movie, the original movie came out 8 years ago or something like that. So what's that? It's like 2017. Even then, it was pushing it. Like, having a neurotypical person play someone with high functioning autism is like a fucking death sentence. You seriously can imagine trying to make I Am Sam now. It's just not I don't have a problem with it. I actually really like The Accountant. I think it's a really smart film, and I like the way that it talks about, it's not making the assumption that people with autism are also fucking supreme martial artists and all this stuff, but it's talking about how they see the world differently and that there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a sweet brother and two brothers story as well, which I like. And Bernthal's excellent. And, Gary Hood makes great films. He made Warrior, which is probably one of my favorite films of all time. And I'm really looking forward to it. But it's not, like, the fact that they're doing it is fucking outrageous. Like, I can't believe it. I wonder if it'll get any traction, I mean,
there is traction. That's why they're doing it though, right?
Yeah, I guess someone wants it. I mean, maybe it's me. They're like Ben Affleck sitting there. In my head, he's only wearing the Batman cowl and naked down from the neck down. And he's like when he fucks Talia in Son of the Demon. But yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna fucking make that movie and have, I don't know why I sound like Johnny Depp. But anyway, they're doing it for me, clearly. Have you seen the first one?
I have not.
It's really good. Like, honestly, I might watch it later. I fucking got the Blu-ray. I'm going to check that shit out because Ben Affleck is awesome in it. It's a really good performance. He's got all these, like, sort of really specific tics, and his performance is, like, really stilted and strange because he has to fake social graces and that kind of thing. And when he can't, he just doesn't have them. But he's also, whooping that ass. He's whooping this ass. All of the ass, he's whooping it. And I kind of dig it. I don't know. And yeah, as I said, Gavin Hood makes good pictures. Warrior. That's all I can think of right this second. There's something else like, he did, he did a hockey movie, Miracle. There was something else that he did. Sorry, I'm going to have to look it up.
Because I'll look it up, don't worry.
Yeah, but you don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I know the...
Yeah, no, but you don't know what movie I'm looking for. Oh, actually, no. His name's not Gavin Hood.
It's Gavin.
Now the whole thing's fucked up.
Isn't it Gavin O'Connor?
Gavin O'Connor. Hang on.
Are you talking about The Way Back?
Yes, yeah. He directed The Way Back with Ben Affleck, about the basketball coach with alcoholism, and I must tell you, he also directed another really good film. Where is it? Warrior. I did that after. Oh, that's a producer. Fucking hell, IMDb. Would you bloody get your shit together? Jane Got a Gun is good as well. The one he directed before Warrior with Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy is excellent. Absolutely. And Nick Nolte in that is just peak Nick Nolte. Pride and Glory is really good. I like that movie a lot with Colin Farrell and Edward Norton, who we were talking about before. And yeah, Miracle is a movie about ice hockey with Kurt Russell. But yeah, The Way Back is really good. And I saw that movie. Let me just check and see when it came out. Sorry, guys, this is a huge tangent, but fuck it. You like the show, don't you?
2020, I guess?
It was definitely 2020. I'm just trying to find the month because it is relevant. Okay, yeah. So, 2020, March the 5th, this movie comes out, and I wanted to see it because I like Ben Affleck, and I also like Gavin O'Connor, not Gavin Hood. I like Gavin Hood as well, but for different reasons. And I'd also been sober for only 2 months. So I got sober at the beginning of 2020. And in that film, there is behavior that is so... I thought I was the only one. Like, I thought it was so personal to the behavior of an alcoholic that I thought I was the only one who had it. I broke down in tears watching it because I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that people... Like, I want to call Ben Affleck and go, is this what you did? Like, how do you know that? And it's something as simple as, like, going to the bar first and then drinking again when you get home, like on a weeknight or whatever, or, or hiding booze places. I never really did that, but, that's a specific thing. But the one that really got me was he would drink an entire case of beer in a night, and he'd have one beer, like, waiting in the freezer so that it was really cold while he had the other one, because you drink them so fast, like, you have one in like 10 minutes or whatever, you get another one and it hasn't frozen, it's just cold enough to be excellent. And that was... I was shook at the accuracy and the particularity of that kind of representation of alcoholism. It wasn't as... There's always that romantic story of the alcoholic, like, oh, the tortured writer or the this or that. No, it's actually really practical, and a lot of people have it and don't understand that they have it as well, alcoholism. And that's one of the things. He's just this fucking ex-basketball player who's a tradie, like, person who works with his hands, and he just gets fucking munted every night, and that's what's up. But yeah, excellent picture is my point. I'm looking forward to The Accountant number 2. Hopefully he's not drinking in that, because he's walking around with guns and stuff. He's gonna miss shit. He's not gonna hit anybody.
It's the Punisher and the Batman teaming up, like the best Batman of all time.
That's crazy, and the best Punisher of all time by for my money. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. The other ones, let me just go back to where we were here. The Academy, being the Oscars, is considering a new rule requiring all future Oscar nominees to disclose the use of AI. There's been development recently in the controversy surrounding Best Picture nominee The Brutalist, which used AI to enhance Hungarian accents on Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones, and to generate architectural drawings for the film's final sequence. I didn't know that second part.
Yeah, that's I knew that because the director talked about it in the director roundtable. But he didn't use the word AI. He said CGI technology. I mean, and when he says CGI technology, it says just CGI. We know what you mean.
Yeah, we can hear you. I mean, at least he disclosed it, honestly. I understand using it to enhance Hungarian accents, which are not only time-specific, but also regionally specific in that film. But I think it's absolutely critical that all creative entities who produce media of any sort, whether it's if you can use AI to do something and you do, you need to tell people that you do, whether it's the clients or whether it's, people who give you awards like this kind of shit or whatever. Like you need to be on Front Street about it, because not only have you used other people's work to, like, as a hive mind that the AI uses other people's work to generate new work. I'm doing that in quotation marks because it's not what it is. It's not new work. It is repurposed work or amalgamated work or Frankenstein shits. And you do that, you absolutely need people to know. And yeah, whether that's whoever it is that needs to know that, I think that's important. Absolutely. How do you feel about all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I absolutely hate it.
It looks like garbage too. Like, it's fine if you've been making a joke, like on the Sequel Suck podcast. I made a joke during one of the things, because we're doing Under Siege 2, and they were talking about how, the guys, I don't think we were actually talking about that specific film, but we're talking about sequels and movies in general, and how they don't age well. Like, and you go back to them as an older person, you're like, this sucks. And then I said, well, movies are static objects. They don't change. You do. Mm-hmm. Has anybody tried to watch Teen Wolf, in the last 10 years or whatever? It sucks. It's really badly made, and it's not a very good film. And yet when I was a kid, a movie about a werewolf who plays basketball is fucking awesome. And I said, Teen Wolf didn't change. I did. And they all pissed themselves. And that's now the name for our group chat between me and the other guys. And one of them also used AI to generate like a poster with that tagline, and it's got a boy with a wolf head and all this kind of stuff. And it's funny and silly. I kind of get that a little bit, because it's not using to promote anything, or they're not coming out saying, hey, this is a gag we did, and whatever. Like, it's just for us. But outside of that, I don't know. Do you deal with it much at school?
Yeah, we do, because every other solution is, well, you can just either use ChatGPT or just like other AI sources to get a proof of concept. And I said, like, we had this conversation as like a debate, and I said that to have a proof of concept, you need to know that the concept works for you as well. So even if you pitch something, you have to take up the camera, go shoot with your friends to actually understand if you yourself are interested in what you pitched. Because once you do that, you'll find different ways to make that story work.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the thing I've said to you before, I think, is, I mean, it's easy to push that button. And if I had a bigger company and it was, we had more at stake and there was more people working and more jobs to be done, maybe I would consider doing, menial tasks via AI, things that write lists or do shot lists or do scheduling or something like that. But at the moment, I don't do that. And I just worry about all the lessons that might be lost without going through the process of grinding something out. Like, I know it takes time, but I have time. In fact, everybody has time. Actually, nobody has time. Time doesn't exist. It is infinite. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't begrudge other people using it. I do think that it should be disclosed if you have used it, particularly in a creative field. But if someone says to me they use AI, I don't get on my high horse to them and crack the shits or whatever. But if they ask me to use it, I say no. It's just not how I want to engage. But yeah, as I said, no shade to anybody out there who uses it. If you use it and it's really helpful to you and you feel that it makes you more creative or something, like if it, for me, if I feel creatively spent and I need to recharge, I watch a movie or I listen to a director's commentary or I read a comic book or I read a book or whatever. Like, I go back to the well of things that got me here in the first place. But if AI does that for you, if it helps you maintain that creativity, I mean, that's not a bad thing. So it's a lot of double-edged swords, It's a poo that came out really successfully, but it's still a poo.
Wow.
I had to get there. I had to get to do.
I want that shirt. I will probably print that and put it on my shirt next week.
You're welcome. You are welcome. In our final little news bit, speaking of Rob Liefeld, who is also the creator of Deadpool, by the way, he has officially cut ties with Marvel Studios. This is fucking ridiculous. According to Hollywood Reporter, Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld has officially cut ties with Marvel Studios, citing years of mistreatment and belittlement. This sounds vaguely similar to what happened in the 90s. After Deadpool and Wolverine hit theaters, Liefeld revealed on his podcast that neither he nor his family were invited to the after party of the New York premiere, rolling a single tear. Liefeld later explained his comments, alleging that Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige didn't acknowledge him on the red carpet. Liefeld also attributed his decision to previous disputes with Marvel, including petition to receive more prominent credit for his Deadpool creation, which Liefeld alleges was shut down by Marvel. He also said Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. Marvel Studios has previously received criticism from comic book artists, holding back original work and characters and stuff like that. He's a weird character, that guy. I mean, these guys were rock stars in the 90s. You can't even imagine. They were like, I remember Grant Morrison was talking about when his graphic novel Arkham Asylum hit big. He got the call from the editor, and she was like, "You're rich," because he was getting $1 a book, and they sold 100,000 copies on the first day. And he's like, "That's the most money I've ever conceived of." And he went crazy, and just through the 90s, just was drinking champagne and doing drugs and going to fetish clubs and dancing and just being a fucking rock star. But these guys were like buying Learjets and stuff. Like, they were just obscene amounts of money, especially when they were working for Image and they had their own properties and owned their own properties, just like, and selling the original art and stuff. So yeah, I feel bad for him if he feels bad, but I just feel like it's a little bit pumped up. So take it easy, Rob. Just look after yourself, mate. Let's not take it too seriously. It's just Deadpool.
I get that sentiment, but also that's always been true with Marvel Studios. Like they're telling a story that has characters that were created by other people, but they're like, I understand that. Like, I understand that point of view, but they've never treated comic book writers well. So like, I don't expect them to. Yeah.
I mean, Jack Kirby was working to his death to pay the bills as a comic book writer, and he's responsible for the co-creation of now billion-dollar properties.
Avengers Doomsday starts filming in March.
Really?
You know
I don't know how they're ready.
You know what's even more insane? Not only are they not going to shoot both of them back to back, which is nobody should ever do that unless you're Peter Jackson. But Doomsday comes out in like May next year.
No, it doesn't. There's no way that's going to happen.
It comes out 2026.
There's no way they'll be ready for a 2026 release date, surely. Like, I don't know how they're going to do that if they haven't even shot anything yet. How long does it take? 6 months to shoot?
Probably.
And then they got less than a year to do all the effects? No fucking way! No way, mate. There's no way, because it's going to be... no, I just don't see it happening.
They either push it to their summer release or the November slot.
Yeah, maybe. But it's also like, I don't think anyone knows what's up. Benedict Cumberbatch is like, I'm not in it. And then 2 days later, he's like, no, I'm in it. Because they got a call and like, yeah, no, dude, you're on page 804. Is this 804 page script? Yeah, I know, it's a long draft, but yeah, you've got to read it. Oh, fuck, all right, I am there. He's like in a scene or something and didn't know it.
But like, he said he's not in it, then he said that he is. But then he said that he isn't in it.
So I mean, Chris Evans said he's not in it as well, and yet everyone's saying he is. So yeah, I don't know. As I said about Cap, the new Cap movie, which I'm going to see tomorrow. We'll be doing an episode on that next week, everybody. I think I'm going to call that episode Simply Red. Ooh, that's like the band Simply Red. I've lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, I'm just going to wait and see. Like, I have no feeling about it whatsoever until it comes out.
Yes, I feel the same way with Daredevil Born Again. I just need that showrunner to shut the fuck up. Because he's saying shit.
I haven't heard. He just keeps talking about it.
He keeps talking about how it's better than the Netflix show and how the action is so much more turned up. And I'm like, then you've learned the wrong lesson.
Yeah, exactly. It was the drama that made that show work, not the fucking ass whooping. And in fact, the ass whooping was quite measured in that.
And it's the other way around.
Traditionally, there was high speed stuff, and yeah, exactly. I don't know, but I again. Daredevil, I'm ready for that. Anything approximating the run that Frank Miller did, or Kevin Smith, or Brian Michael Bendis, like any of the great, Daredevil writers of the last 20 or 30 years, anything approximating that, and I'm happy. So Born Again specifically based on a series, a run of issues that happened during Frank's run. And I can't remember who the artist was. Might have been the guy who did year one with him. Anyway, I'm game. I'm fucking game for Daredevil. And speaking of Daredevils, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is filled with them. Filled with all the Daredevils that you could possibly want. You've got Supermen, you've got Reachers, you've got a bunch of other ones, and it's a good time. Oh, we didn't really talk about any of the trailers that came out during the Super Bowl, come to think of it. Like, there was a Thunderbolts trailer.
Did you watch it?
Yeah. Is it just not the Suicide Squad? I don't know.
It is, but it's also not, because they also, like, the Suicide Squad doesn't have a moral compass unless they're told to have one. But yeah, it's the Suicide Squad, and I don't really mind it.
I keep seeing like glimpses of Sentry, which I'm excited about, because I remember when that happened, and at first, like in the 90s, they were like, "Oh, this is a secret superhero that Stan invented years and years ago, and it didn't work, and it's resurfaced, and we're going to do it again." And it wasn't. It was just a big marketing ploy.
It's the biggest horseshit ever pulled, and it stuck so well because they're like, "Oh, there's a new superhero, but he always existed," but he never did.
It was the original trolling, But anyway,
the original trolling is when all the hobbits are stuck with those three trolls in the Hobbit film, when the three trolls is trying to skin them.
That's the original trolling.
And then
you're being a little bit too literal there, my friend.
That's what we do
not
here.
Not actual trolls doing trolling. Is that what they do when you walk around? You're not peopling. You're not humaning. How do you know? Actually, Alan Watts said that, funnily, and I always loved it. He talks about the planet Earth being an organism, and he's like an apple tree, apples. Well, Earth, peoples. I just always love that idea that it's we grow out of something as opposed to into something. Anyway, little philosophy for your afternoon. Speaking of philosophy, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, directed quite cunningly, I would say, by Mr. Guy Ritchie. He also worked on the screenplay along with Paul Tomasi and Eric Johnson and Arash Emil. And it's based on a book written by Damian Lewis, which is called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, How Churchill's Secret Warriors Set Europe Ablaze and Gave Birth to Modern Black Ops. And it is based on a true story, in name only, I think, and in some of the places they go to. I don't think they were quite as Justice League-y as they are in this. It's like, we got a bomb guy, we got a bow and arrow guy, we've got a guy with a fucking
It is the
coat
Justice
on.
League, holy shit.
What did I say?
No, I did not clock it, but it totally is the Justice League.
It fucking absolutely is. One of them in there played Aquaman.
One of them played Superman.
Alan Richardson played Aquaman in Smallville, and the Superman in there as well. You're always almost halfway there. But anyway, the basic idea of it is, folks, for those of you who hadn't seen it, at the height of World War II in the UK, the British were worried about losing the war. They even considered surrender, and Churchill fucking wasn't having it. He was not having it. So he recruited a bunch of soldiers, miscreants, really, people who had bad records, to literally go and perform unsanctioned tasks for him that were, if they got caught by their own government, they would be, tried and thrown in the stockade. And if they got caught by the Germans, they would be tortured and killed. So yeah, it's a small group of highly skilled soldiers to strike German forces behind the lines during World War II, going in and destroying fuel dumps where the Germans are, refueling U-boats, which were completely winning them the war. They couldn't get any supplies in. The American military wouldn't join the fight because they were just their ships had been destroyed. No one could keep up with these U-boats, and it was because of this specific suicide mission, so to speak. These Nazi hunters went out and took these tugboats and basically stole a submarine which had all of the refueling and all the munitions on it. So I really loved it the second time. I don't know why I didn't give it a chance the first time. It just maybe my head was elsewhere. But it's really got something. I don't know. It's a real modern war film in the sense that it doesn't feel kind of... It's a bit punk rock, you know, as opposed to something sort of stuffy and old school like Saving Private Ryan.
Tell me what your experience was the first time watching it and now going back.
The first time I watched it was the day that it came out because I was really looking forward to it. I just like the idea, and the trailer looked good. I like Cavill, I like Richardson, I like Guy Ritchie. So I really sort of, you know, I would dig this, but I don't know. I honestly can't remember well enough. I must have been distracted, or I didn't follow it right or whatever. But this time I was fucking in. Like I was really clicked into the story, and that so much of it happens without these guys. Like it opens with them already on the mission, and you know getting boarded by the Nazis, and they're pretending to be, you know, Swedish guys. Even though Alan Richard plays a Swedish guy who's, you know, a big sweet gay dude, and he's, you know, this absolute powerhouse, and just cuts Nazis to, like, it's really violent. Like he just absolutely shreds these guys, and he's wicked with a bow and arrow too, which is cool. But anyway, more to the point, it sort of just starts there. But then as they're on the journey, you know, it goes back in time. You see how they're all recruited and they save one of their friends from a Nazi bunker. But when the story actually gets going, they're just on a boat for a bunch of days, and everything's happening in... It's not Crete, is it? No, it wasn't in Crete. Where are the boats?
Fernando Po?
Yeah, which is in Spain, I think, isn't it?
I think South Africa.
Okay, maybe I'll shut the fuck up then.
Wait, no, maybe it's Spain. Or there were Spanish soldiers over there.
It's Italia. Italia. It's Italia. You know, and Germany, fucking idiot. So it's there. It's in an Italian island, and it's sort of being stocked there, and all the Italian soldiers are sort of been drawn into you know, look after this port, and they're all the Nazi soldiers of influx, and they fucking hate it. But the British also have undercover agents there, and a lot of it's about them actually sort of like preparing things to happen. Marjorie Stewart and Heron, who are both the I don't know, spies. Really, they're kind of the spies.
Yeah,
they're double agents basically. They're supposedly working with the Germans, but secretly sort of preparing the way for this group to come in and take hold of the place. We've also got a fantastic Kerry Elwes in the film. He's really, really great. And Roy Kenner as Churchill is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Til Schweiger plays Heinrich Lehr, who's the sort of head Nazi, and he's terrifying as shit.
Yeah. And on first glance, he looked like Guy Pearce.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, absolutely. Guy Pearce kind of when he's doing a villain role, like in
Iron Man 3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3. I was thinking the one with Tom Hardy, Lawless. Anyway, so you've got these band of second stringers who are incredibly unhinged, incredibly violent, led by the fantastic Henry Cavill, who plays Gus March Phillips, who is was in the stockade when they pulled him out for, you know, doing the right thing, but because it's not what they told him to do. You said you think this is his best performance. Did you say that?
I did not say that, but it probably is. No. Yeah. I think his best performance just still remains Night Hunter.
Oh, 110%. That movie fucking rules.
I watched that not very recently, but I watched it in the new year. I forgot to talk about it, but that movie is go, 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 and it never stops.
No, and it never goes where you think it's going to go either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's so great in this. He's got a great civility and kind of a British pomp that you don't see in him, because 9 times out of 10 he's not playing a British dude. He's playing an American. I love when he meets with the ship captain of the people who are going to help him, help them take this port, and they kind of recognise each other, and because he knows him from the Eton cricket team and that kind of thing. He's sort of like a lord or a you know, a British pomp, like I said, but he's also a fucking unhinged maniac who steals beautiful long coats from Nazis and hats and has those.
It's my favorite costume he's ever worn, and that's something.
It's
man.
Really great. Considering he was a Superman.
Yeah, I mean, the German trench coat with the hat And the tongue out. Oh my God, eat me. Sorry.
Just put me in a bowl with some milk and have me, or spread me on a cracker. Yeah, he's really great. It's a really strong performance of, it's a kind of a comedy as well, but there's also a thing about defiance, about how like Churchill, despite the fact that he was a horrendous drunk, was probably one of the most important military. He was such a drunk that he had fucking the guy who invented Winnie the Pooh do most of his speeches. He was fucked up on cognac all the time. But he was one of the most important military leaders of all time. If it wasn't for him, like half the world would be speaking German right now, you know what I mean? Like, and not in a good way. Like, German people are lovely, and the German language is really beautiful as well to the ear when it's not being shouted at you, from a fucking podium. But it would be under Nazi rule that the Third Reich would have won. So yeah, there's no denying that the importance behind this is real, but the way they do it is quite lyrical and colourful. Colourful's a good way to describe it, actually.
He said, yeah, the guy who invented Winnie the Pooh did all his speeches. No wonder the Winnie the Pooh characters are like fucking representation of stages of grief.
Are they?
Oh my God, do you not know this?
Hang on a minute, everyone.
Wait,
tangent.
okay.
What goes on? Tell me about this.
Wait, do you really not know this?
What's Piglet?
Oh, I will tell you.
Is that the stage of grief where you eat bacon?
No, if it's that,
Oh,
then
Piglet.
Christopher Robin represents schizophrenia because he sees all these characters.
That makes sense.
Piglet is anxiety disorder.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah.
The donkey is major depressive disorder.
Absolutely.
Winnie the Pooh is eating disorder. I'm not kidding.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, who came up with this? Though it wasn't the author who came out and said this, was it?
I don't think so, but it's deduced that way. Yeah, the bunny is narcissism. The owl is dyslexic tendencies, and the tiger is
that's not very fair.
Hyperactive. So it's not stages of grief, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, all right. That's wild.
That was one tangent.
I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know. I'll take that with a grain of salt, honestly. If it wasn't the writer who came out and said, by the way, this, and also Churchill fucking loved drink, then yeah, I'm not too sure about it. But anyway,
he is an alcoholic because in the film you see Germany bomb London. Churchill is sitting on his desk in the middle of the night, and everything starts to shake. And the first thing he tries to protect is his glass full of fucking whiskey or brandy or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be brandy or something. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy was a famous drunk. But as I said, he was still an important military leader at that time. Just going down the cast again, Alan Ritchson is amazing, and it's hard. I feel like it's hard to get a real feel about just how good he can be and how dedicated he is to the craft because he's such a muscle man. Like, the dude is absolutely yoked. Like, he is outrageously muscled. It looks fake. And it probably is. He's probably on something, but neither here nor there. The point is that because of that and because of his role as Reacher, and Reacher is kind of on the spectrum and he's very blunt and very to the point, much like Ben Affleck in The Accountant. That's all I'm saying. It's hard to get a feel, like, because his performance in Reacher is so mannered and so detached that you feel like he's, if you didn't understand that that's what he was doing on purpose, you would feel like he was a bad actor. But he's not. He's actually really good, and he's really dedicated, and he really loves working. Like, he really loves the job. And this, I feel, is a prime example of it. He is not doing, like, he's playing is he Swedish?
He's playing a Swedish character. Yes, I don't know if he's gay, but honestly, he like the way that he's
absolutely
written,
is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know if the actual person that, like, the character is based on is gay. Alan Ritchson is playing this as a homosexual. I'm sorry, that's just what's up.
I did not clock that. I did not clock that the first time I watched it, but the way that he's mooning over Henry Golding. I understand.
Absolutely, yeah. Or where they're sitting there and they're sort of doing that back and forth,
Yeah.
in the boat and stuff. And it just the way he's talking is just kind of a little bit, there's something light to it, And he's just, the Swiss accent, that was more German that I just did, but the accent he's doing, he's not doing the fucking chef from Muppets. Like, it's not a cartoon performance. It's a big cartoony kind of movie, and him being this, completely unstoppable fucking barbarian with a bow and arrow is very cartoony, but his performance is quite genuine, and I really dig him, and just him, his physicality and his brutality, like, he would be formidable, like, sort of under any circumstances as a physical actor. But I think this movie shows that he has quite a bit of range. He's got a bit more going on than just being, whoever the next muscle guy is. Like, you could very easily see him doing what Stallone did in 10 years and putting on a heap of weight and doing a film like Copland,
No idea what that is.
It's one of James Mangold's first movies. It's really fucking good. And they cast Stallone, who was Rambo and Judge Dredd at the time, as this sort of beat down small town cop in New York or in New Jersey, and he like put on heaps of weight to do it, and went and studied at a deaf school because he had to be a character who lost his hearing in one ear, so he could only be a sheriff in this small town instead of being a cop in New York. And it's all about the corruption that goes on and all this kind of shit. And it's his best performance. It's absolutely amazing. But I can see Alan Ritchson doing something like that in the future, of like taking on a role that's really thick for someone who is, people think as one way, as just being Reacher. Like, when Reacher ends and he goes on to do whatever else he's going to do, I think it could be interesting to do more kind of meaty roles. And you should see Copland because it's awesome.
He is the one who steals the show in this film, honestly. Like, every time he's on screen, it's a delight. It has inspired me to go back and continue Reacher, because I loved him so much in this. And like, watching it the second time, I appreciated it more. And it did something that I haven't done in like years, where I watch a film and then I watch the interviews of the cast and the behind the scenes. Because like shooting it, like just watching it seems so much fun. And then you go to the behind the scenes, and then do you remember when they raid the Nazi headquarters to rescue Appleyard? And when Henry Golding like shoots an entire fleet of Nazis in one room. Yeah. Right? So in that, Henry Cavill and the actual sailor, they go inside a room, and then they start laughing at the joke that the Germans are saying, and then they shoot it. There's a clip in the behind the scenes stuff where somebody on set comes up with the idea that they can't see them when they're already in the room, and Guy Ritchie just comes out and says, "That's good, that works, let's do it." That's like, that's what translated to the film so well, because it, like, you're seeing that on behind the scenes, because sometimes you watch movies and they're fun, and then you hear about the stories behind the scenes, you're like, oh fuck. But it seemed like a lot of fun. And Cavill talked about how in this film he was delighted to not do all the action, so he gave all of it to Alan Richardson. Yeah,
it's all right, mate. You take the reins for a little while. I've been Superman for fucking half a decade twice. Get busy.
Half a decade twice. You were Superman for 10 years.
Metric, wasn't it? Yeah, that's like, for that amount of time, and he played the character all of twice. Really, I mean, Justice League doesn't really count, and none of the others do.
Yeah. Also, we have a Heron on the spy side. On the Secret Intelligence, that's what I was talking about. And he's played by Jalmis from the Dune Part 1.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exceptional actor. Yes, his name is Babs Osanmoken, I think it is. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Babs, wonderful actor. Just right there. Guy Ritchie obviously liked working with him because he was in Wrath of Man as well. But he's got just an intensity and a like, the scene where he gets caught in the pump station laying the bombs and just takes out that motherfucker when his gun stops working is exceptional. Just as a real threat there. And the other side of him is is it Isa?
Yes, Isa Gonzalez.
Majora Stewart is sort of like the second part of that story, and she's kind of brought in there as a bit of a honey trap for the lead Nazi, like his story. But it's a bit more than that as well, because she's kind of hiding the fact that she's Jewish and hiding the fact that she's an actress, but she's really formidable, and she kind of takes this guy to task a lot of the time and is only caught out because she accidentally uses a Yiddish word while singing Jack the Knife in the club scene. But yeah, really, really strong performances across the board, really. Alan Richardson is the standout, but it's only because he has so much more room than everybody else to play with. Just speaking about Guy Ritchie, like, this guy's been, working on solid pictures for a long time. He Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, and then Snatch, like, straight out of the gate with all this class and all this British tongue-in-cheek and this kind of, geezer attitude in this kind of punk rock style, but with, like, traditional cinema tropes. Lock, Stock and Snatch still hold up. They're great. It kind of, like, swayed a little bit off for a while there when he was with Madonna, and I don't care about their relationship or whatever, but he made Swept Away and no one really liked it and that stuff. But then once he was no longer with her again, he's been working sort of really steadily, making some really, really interesting pictures. He has made some not so good pictures. So yeah, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. He does a few Madonna film clips and then does the film Swept Away. After that, he did a pretty good film called Revolver and another one called Rock and Roller, which was sort of back to his roots of being kind of British gangstery pictures. And then he makes 2 Sherlock Holmes films, which I really like. I like people kind of malign those, but I think they're pretty interesting. Man from U.N.C.L.'s great. I didn't see his King Arthur movie because I just missed it. Aladdin I didn't see either. The Gentlemen everybody likes. It wasn't for me. Wrath of Man's really good. I enjoy Wrath of Man quite a bit. Coming back with Ministry, and he has a new film coming out soon called In the Grey. Revolves around 2 extraction specialists who have to designate a route of escape for a senior female negotiator, and that's Henry Cavill and Jake Gyllenhaal. Isa Gonzalez again, and Rosamund Pike. Fisher Stevens, who's fantastic. Banging out good picture after good picture. But just in terms of who's directing this picture, it's really solid. Like, it's really well put together. The action's really interesting and dynamic. The story aesthetics that he likes, the sort of flitting back and forth is present. His dynamic use of like high shutter speeds and high frame rates is really great. And the way that he directs actors to be truthful but theatrical, because that's the point, is to understand that what you're saying needs to be real, but you need to say it in a way that is, these guys are the Justice League of World War II. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Also, it, like, the reason why it feels like this band is like it is the best part about this film, but also, like, they like, the actors feel free to do what they want. You can feel that in their performance, and I think that's a very hard thing to achieve. You
do feel like there's something that there's an intensity behind the camera that kind of bleeds onto the screen, and it is that thing of like, oh, that's going to work, let's do that. Yeah, okay, great. Oh, this is going to be here. Yeah, put this here. Or that doesn't work, let's change it to this. Or you get that line, and hey, I'm Henry Cavill, you do that punch instead of me because I'm tired from being Superman, or whatever. You feel that that kind of indie spirit behind Guy Ritchie's movies. And when you see him interviews and when you see him working and stuff like that, he moves really quickly. Like, he just punches these things out. And he obviously loves doing it. He just has a good time writing and directing movies. He's not out there trying to win Academy Awards. He's like, this interests me. I want to be a part of this, whether it's, making movies with where Jason Statham roundhouse kicks somebody, every 2 minutes, or whether it's a movie like this where it's a cartoon version of a very real, very serious event.
Yeah, I think it balances that tone really well as well. Like you feel the seriousness of it every time you go back to the UK, and you have scenes with Churchill and M. And then you cut back to these chaps on the boat. And it's like everything that goes on in the film has you on edge and like interested in where the story goes next. And it's just, I think the word that comes to mind the most is fun and stylish for me. Because like it's so unabashedly Guy Ritchie that if you don't like that style, you won't enjoy it. But like more like I feel because I watched King Arthur, and if you go in watching if you go into the film expecting a King Arthur story, like with knights and everything, you won't get that. But if you're a Guy Ritchie fan, you know what you're getting, and it's a fucking magical sword and all that shit.
Yeah, he has we've talked about the directors before who have a signature, and you see something. It's like when you turn on the radio and it's Metallica, you will like a few chords in, you're like, well, that's clearly Metallica. They have something about them. Guy Ritchie has a style that makes him stand out. That makes him seem, that he puts his stamp on whatever he does, even if it's something like fucking Aladdin, which I haven't seen, so I don't know how much of his stamp is on that. But just that you're going to see camera work, and you're going to see choices made there that are clearly him. And in something like this, which is ostensibly a war picture, but has much more in common with something like a Sherlock Holmes or whatever stylistically than it does with the traditional World War II pictures. It's also shot like a motherfucker. The cinematographer was Ed Wild. He's worked with Ritchie before. I thought it was like beautifully shot. Some of the really targeted light sources and really specific light sources that make it naturalistic while still being dramatic, and everything's lit from afar a lot of the time, which is interesting because they're doing shadowy work and all that stuff. It's and those boardroom scenes specifically where they get in, Henry Cavill's character, and he's like, a cup of tea, and he like takes the bourbon instead, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna have a cigar and take a couple of cigars with me, and I'm gonna steal Ian Fleming's fucking lighter. Ian Fleming, who obviously created James Bond, is a character in this, and he was a military man who worked under Churchill, or Churchill's generals and such like that. It's long believed that Major the Gus, who Henry Cavill plays, was the inspiration for Bond, which is pretty cool. But yeah, those scenes are lit very specifically. To be that kind of sort of shadowy cabinet kind of stuff going on, but they still look really beautiful naturalistically. They don't, and stylistically, without drawing attention to themselves, I guess is my point.
Yeah. Also, that scene is the perfect example of the pace and pitch of this film, because after every 1 or 2 sentences, there's a break where you see Henry Cavill doing something bizarre. And you need that, because if you get that entire information in one go, you won't understand shit.
It won't get through. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're gonna lose half of it in the translation. And the other thing that I loved about this very specifically was the fucking score.
Yes. Oh my god, I was waiting for it, man. Oh,
so great. Christopher Benstead wrote the score. He's written most of Guy Ritchie's scores: Covenant, Operation Fortune, Wrath of Man, and The Gentlemen. So he's fairly new to the game. But just a fantastic, quirky, tense spy kind of thing, but with the backbone of being like a proper operatic score. It was great. I loved it. Yeah,
I love the sea shanty part of it, because it's a sea shanty plus being like a weird like Saturday morning cartoon vibe, but with like spy themes thrown in, and like the whistle is what connects it all, and it's so well made. It's so well made, and by the end of it, it's just the whistle, but you can hum it, because not only have they used it so many times, it's also fucking wonderful.
Yeah, and the timing is really particularly good, like you said. Like it paces things so well. Like sometimes score is just score, and it's kind of there to evoke things, but this is kind of, it gives the film a music as well. Like things should flow with the music, and Guy Ritchie's music is so important. Like a lot of his movies are like jukebox musicals. There's lots of stuff going on, songs he tries, like Tarantino, and you can tell that he has a rhythm to his cutting, or that he gets his editor to do as well, that are served so well by a score that is so characteristic, or has so much character. Yeah, that was one of the highlights for me, was the score. It got a couple of plays while I was at the gym this week.
Hell yeah. Just
lifting weights and doing some bops.
Top 3 scenes and top 3 lines then?
I probably can't remember lines specifically, but let's do top 3 moments. Yeah, top 3 scenes.
Or you go first.
Alan Ritchson in the sub, just going through and taking motherfuckers out with his own arrow because that's all he had on him. Like, you know, he couldn't get the bow open, and he's just like starts stabbing motherfuckers, and then he comes up, he takes the axe and goes up, and then he comes up to the door and like tink 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 and waves, and they were kind of waiting for him to do it. It was like, oh, don't worry, the bear will take care of it. Like, just fucking awesome. Really loved it.
Yeah.
And I one of my favorite lines of his is where he goes, "Oh no, you're in trouble now!" Like, where they start laughing at the Nazis on the boat. So good.
My third favorite moment would be when he goes when they're rescuing Appleyard, which the actor who plays Appleyard looks exactly like Tommy, and I will not go back on that.
Yeah, no, it's almost Tommy, if you're listening out there, watch this movie, and fuck me, that wasn't a request. I was just saying.
Can I watch,
unusual.
please?
Sure. Yeah. No, we'll do an episode on it. Hi, welcome back to Podcast Assemble, where me and Tommy are going to have sex. And you're going to listen to it. Here we are on YouTube. Sorry, Tommy. Happily fucking engaged, man. Doesn't want to be having sex with podcasting partners. What are we talking about? Okay, so
Yes,
sorry, you were
okay.
saying the Appleyard scene, yeah.
Yeah, when they go to rescue Appleyard and they literally kill every single Nazi on site. Appleyard is shackled and his nipples are like almost dust because they're connected to a car battery.
They're almost dust. Oh dear. Teats.
And Lassen goes in and he kills everybody around him. And then Appleyard just says, do we know each other? And Lassen says no. And then he clocks one who hasn't died yet. He takes his knife, he kills him, opens his chest and rips out the fucking heart.
And what does he say to him? He's like, the heart, Lassen? And he's like, just to remove all doubt. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Just want to make sure he's fucking dead. Yeah, that's so good. I really enjoy the scene between her and the head German where she's talking about working with the Jews and how she says that she is one. And the camera like dollies in on her as she says, you know, I'm a Jew. And then dollies in on him. And then on her, it kind of racks back really quickly as she starts to laugh. And she's like, oh, I'm just joking. They're dirty rats. And I was just like, oh, fuck it. Just she had him in the palm of her hand. And I love that, like her character for that. It didn't have to be just about sexuality. It was about I'm smarter than you as well. Yeah, that was really cool.
I think that's what this film does well with just her character because it never makes it about sexuality. It's always
when she's doing
a
the
mind
dance,
game.
it is a little bit like she's singing a little bit, but yeah, absolutely, you're right. She's never like half naked or anything.
Yeah, except for the Cleopatra dress that I really want. Sorry.
Backless. No, I dig it. Yeah, very much. And her character, like the real version of her character, went on to marry Gus.
Yeah.
That Henry Cavill plays. Because at the end they have like where these people actually ended up and who they actually were. It's pretty cool.
And she becomes an actress after this mission, which is interesting.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, wow. Very cool. What's your second one?
My second one, it's when they meet KB, the prince of Fernando Po. And it's
Yep.
and like they tell him what to do. But it's not his introduction, it's his introduction to the rest of the crew led by Henry Cavill. And he comes up with a bigger ship, more men, and even more fucking iron.
Yeah. He's just absolutely stacked to the nines with an arsenal and all of these fucking soldiers ready to die for him. Yeah, that's very cool.
And like my favorite part of that is it's a very dramatic scene with like the flair that this film has. And then in the left corner, you see Alan Richardson just in a hammock, in shorts, just kind of in there. It's so fun.
Well, to be fair, like he's in almost every shot because he takes up so much of the fucking frame. The dude is a gigant. It is outrageous. Yeah, I love it. Love it. My number one is the very, very, very end where they've been caught after, yes, spoilers everyone, they've been caught after, doing this thing, and if you listen to this, it's you're gonna they win, okay? They win is what happens, but I won't tell you how they win, but they all end up in military prison because they broke the law. And Churchill comes in and, starts giving him a speech about how, this is what he needed to happen, and the Americans are now going to enter the field of war, and he brings in with him pies and lobster and drink and food and all this stuff for these people who have been locked away for so long. And he said, keep these people on call. They work for me now. And as he leaves, Henry Cavill just looks down the line of his compatriots, and just there's a sly smile, and then it cuts to black. And I'm like, oh, and more adventures. And more adventures. Like I want to hear the rest of the story, but unfortunately, because Prime doesn't know what it's doing, it put this directly on its service instead of into cinemas everywhere where it should have, and they didn't promote it properly.
Well, they didn't promote it properly. That's the reason. But I believe it was in cinemas.
It didn't get a cinema release in Australia. They promoted it in a weird way. They made it too Guy Ritchie. They should have made it. This is a summer picture. This is a big blockbuster.
Agreed.
That's what it should have been.
Agreed. Also, it did not come out in the summer. Also, nobody would have ever wanted that, like, the Deadpool and Wolverine summer to be the summer that the film comes out.
Yeah, that's very true. Even though this is a superior film, sorry.
Definitely.
Deadpool and Wolverine is an interesting artifact, but it's not well made or anything. Like, it's not exceptionally put together. It's just some more of the same. But this is something. This has got there's some sustenance. There's some meat in that sandwich.
Yeah.
And it's Alan Richardson's fucking undoubtedly enormous hog. Like, come on. Let's be real, everybody. Alan Richardson must have a huge cock. Like, it's got to be an absolute beast. I can't even. What, are you looking it up?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How big is Alan Richardson's cock?
Oh, no.
Richardson's. It'll just tell you next time is it'll just tell you when Reacher season 3 is due out. It's 9.5 inches, and Reacher season 3 releases on Prime this February. Enjoy. I think it's this week, actually. Might be the 16th.
Jesus, that man is busy.
Yeah. What's your final favourite moment, my friend?
Well, you took my final favorite moment.
Oh, really? Yours was the same?
Yeah, I love
awesome.
that. I love that when Churchill leaves, they'll look at him, and then he looks back, and the smile was there. I love Henry Cavill's energy in this, because he feels so much free. And that's why he's in his element the most here. It's sad, because I would watch fucking 16 follow-ups of this than watch, like, Secret Invasion or, shit like that again.
Yeah. It's even though it was based on a book, and that it is also... even though it's based on a book, it's like not an original piece of material. It's still an original piece of material that they built a film around. It's not something that comes from IP already or whatever. And I think Henry Cavill's probably excited because he was finally loose of the shackles of being Superman. He would have been shooting this just after he finished up his contract there when and just after it had probably been announced that he wasn't going to be Superman anymore. He's like, okay, well, now I did Argyle, which is terrible. And now I can kind of let loose a little bit and have a good time. Yeah, so it's a wonderful film. I do highly recommend it. Go out and check it out. It's on Prime, or you can probably hire it on, somewhere else, or you can get it on 4K or Blu-ray or whatever. It's well worth your time. It's a good, fun Friday night in picture, and you might get something out of it as well. So
my favorite part about this film is when I went into it, I went for total escapism, and eventually it became educational by the end of it, and that's the best thing. Like, you want to read about the Lord of the Rings, and then you find out that, oh shit, Tolkien was in the trenches in World War I. That shit makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some depth going on as well. It's not completely popcorn nothing. So
yes,
awesome. Well, check it out, everybody. Do we have any questions this week?
I think we only have one.
We should have like 7. We've been off air for too long. I think everybody's like, where are they? We're coming. Plenty of episodes coming.
This question comes for Chaz.
Chaz. He's just a third person on the show now. What's up with Chaz?
Chaz asks, what small screen actors would you love to see talk? Okay, no, he did say
Didn't read the question before reading it out on the fucking pod. 2025, mate. Catch up.
What small screen actors would you love to see talk a large screen role? So take a large screen role.
Small screen actors take a large screen role.
I don't think we live in a world where we can call TV small screen.
Well, I think he means at home as opposed to in the cinema. A proper lead role, I'd really like to see Mark Boomer.
Yes.
From Doom Patrol. He's been in things, he's been in movies and stuff, but I'd love to see him. It would have been a good Hal Jordan, actually. But yeah, I would like to see that. He would have been. I'm excited about Cole Chandler, but yeah, he would be pretty good.
See, I wanted to say Paul Mescal, but he's already doing it.
Charlie Cox?
Yes, Charlie Cox, yes. But also, I'm a little scared for Charlie Cox because he talked about his audition for Solo and how, like, playing a blind man for 10 years now is, like he needs to get out. But I would love to see him in lead role, like maybe an adaptation of Inherit the Wind, maybe. Where he plays a courtroom drama. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, like just something, an adult thriller, or an adult drama. Something, that is, I've got a role for him right now. I fucking give it to him. Where he plays an aging boxer, which would be kind of on brand as well. But anyway, yeah, that's a good call. What about you? Who's your person?
Have you seen Community?
Yeah.
Do you know Joel McHale?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him in movies and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, he's on a show called Animal Control at the moment.
Fucking amazing show. It's about. Is
it? Oh, cool.
It's about animal control. It's like an office drama. Oh my god, it's an office comedy. And it's about these people rescuing animals and how Joe McHale has 7 cats because he can't let go of them, so he just takes them home. I
totally understand that. I'm gonna watch this show tonight.
It's fucking amazing. Honestly, it's heartbreaking that because it's a Netflix show, like they don't get as much marketing, but it's pretty good. It's been very consistent. I've been watching it since episode 1 aired of season 1. Pretty good.
Yep.
I would love to see him in like an actual serious role.
Awesome. All right, well there you go, Chaz. Much love, my friend, and much love to all of you out there in Podland. Thank you so much for joining us again. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please do go and check out the film. It is very, very good. But next week, perhaps, we will be back with some coverage on Captain America, Brave New World. So please come back then and we'll chat about flying symbols of patriotic hope and geriatric men turning into red demons.
And fucking Tiamat.
What was that?
Oh, Tiamat, isn't it?
Who's Tiamat?
The fucking giant celestial that came out of Earth in Eternals and then they put it to sleep.
That features prominently, does it?
Yes, it's in the trailers.
Is it? I've paid enough attention to them, but on purpose because I just want to go in and see the film cold. Wonderful. I'm looking forward to giant fingers everywhere. Anyway, I love you, mate.
What?
We have to end on a fingering joke, of course. It's wonderful to see you, and I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week too.
And remember,
stay amazing, stay safe. I must get me one of those coats.